What's up, it's Ant here, y'all, and I'm back with another video. We're gonna step right into this. I'm a little bit late on this vid. Do all millionaires think the same? It resurfaced, I believe, and you know, I just got a glimpse of it. I didn't really get to look at it, but we're gonna look and we're gonna try and understand this from more of a, you know, of a normal person's perspective. You feel me? Because I, of course, am not a millionaire yet. So my mind is still fresh and pure. But let's just walk up in it. Let's see what's up. Let's get into it.
Self-made has to be somebody that was growing up broke.
I disagree with that. You can mow lawns for a few months and make like a few $1,000s.
You know how many lawns I'm gonna have to mow?
It's a lot of lawns.
Well, ribbon starts with the wrong way.
He's a multi-millionaire. Please welcome Tim Sykes.
The key to my success is just working hard, like 18 to 20-hour days every day of my life, and having no life, but having a lot of money.
I think it's consistency, waking up every day, doing things that I need to do, not just because I want to do them, but because I have to do them.
3 years ago, I was serving Captain and Coke as a server. I feel like a lot of people think that this happens overnight when it's really been a lot of work.
I started a fat freezing business.
That's pretty cool.
It just grew from doing it for friends and family, and it grew into like a crazy thing.
What's up, you guys? It's Graham here. I think it's so important that you live below your means and live frugally and really focus on what's most important to you.
I think millionaires get a bad rep. I try really hard to serve other people.
Pardon me.
I am self-made. 3, 2, 1,
Let's see go. Self-made. They all agreed. She disagreed.
Growing up, I didn't have anyone in my family that was in real estate. I didn't have anyone in my family that, you know, had millions of dollars. And so for me, I do remember being like 15, 16 years old, having 20 bucks and working part-time after school and like saving away all that money. And then I used that money to get my real estate license. I barely graduated high school. I never went to college, 2 divorced parents, so I should not have become wealthy statistically. But I believe that I put in the work and I really wanted something and I was really determined and I really enjoyed what I do, and that you know, accumulated to where I am today.
I literally started from the bottom.
Graham, yes, that is a self-made person. He said he started basically with nothing, 2 divorced parents, and basically he had $0 a lot. He said $20 to his name for a couple of years. If no one gave you anything, you know, it didn't sound like he said he had a big spike, a big push. He had to work, he had to stack it up. I take that as self-made. Unless he missed any points that, you know, when he got a little bit higher to the top, he took some sort of big handout or something. He's self-made. We could go with that.
Saying that I was ever homeless or anything, but I did grow up in a single family household. We ended up sharing like a 1-bedroom.
The single family household, I mean, you could add that point in, but I don't know. To become a millionaire, you got a lot of stuff stacked against you. I mean, all right, I guess you could put in a single family household.
Apartment with 5 people living in 1 bed. Living through those struggles really did put into perspective that I just wanted more out of life. So I went out there and I did whatever it took to build my wealth. And even though all odds were stacked against me, like I failed out of business.
She said even though all odds were stacked against me, oh my God, to become a millionaire, it's just so rare. It's not too many millionaires. Like for a normal, regular person to wake up and like, you know, work to become a millionaire, all odds are stacked against you no matter what your circumstances are. Like, you don't just wake up and become a millionaire. Like, all odds are stacked against you. Like, truth be told, like, I don't even know a millionaire personally. You don't just see millionaires. So, I mean, that point was kind of invalid.
Administration. My counselor told me I would never make it in business, but I took that and it lit a fire under me to prove her wrong almost.
I feel like personally self-made has to be
Not to mention, I mean, she sounded like she had some good points, but I mean, that doesn't really, like, you know, point out like you being self-made. She just mostly like made it sound like she had a lot of odds stacked against her, which all odds will be stacked against you to become a millionaire. It's just like something you don't really see every day. So I mean, she sounded like, you know, her points wasn't that, you know, valid.
That somebody that was growing up broke, in my opinion, like you got it from the bottom, and I didn't get it from the bottom.
I disagree with that. I don't think you need to come straight from the bottom. Like I started with a few $1,000s. I know a lot of people who started their whole businesses with a few $1,000s.
A few thousand is more than what I had, so in my mind.
Okay. Let's stop right there. I could agree with him with the if you start off with a few $1,000s thing. Now, if you started off working and hustling yourself, and you obtain that few $1,000s yourself, as in no one handed it to you, like you had zero, but then you worked up to that few $1,000s, you could be called self-made because you did start with zero and you worked up to that few $1,000s. But under no circumstances is he gonna say, oh yeah, I'm self-made. Someone, you know, I started off with a few $1,000, $10,000, $15,000, and you know, the rest I did alone. What? Are you crazy? Like starting off with $10,000, $15,000 that was given to you, you are not self-made at that point. Okay? You have to start from pretty much zero to really have that name self-made. And I'm really disappointed that he would say something like that.
A few thousand isn't going to make or break your business, like your life. Like you can't.
$0?
Let's say you start with $1,000. I still believe you're self-made. Even 10,000, even 20,000, because you're not truly like even 6 figures or 7 figures.
This guy, whoever he is, it clearly goes to show. It clearly goes to show, like, you know, I wouldn't say all millionaires think like him. Because she obviously sees like what he's saying is not really valid. But no, under no circumstances can you do that. You can't. Let's say your parents. You got some pretty good, you know, financially stable parents, and they give you a little small amount of what it sounds like he said is $10,000. How does that make you self-made? If I'm person A and I start off with $10,000, I have so much. I'm already on top of person B who's starting with zero. Under no circumstances can you say you're self-made. You started with $10,000, $15,000. That does make or break the business. This guy like what? I'm shocked. I'm shocked that he would say that. If this person is starting off with zero and you started off with $20,000 from your parents, me and you are not even in the same ballpark, dude. Like you got a pretty big, large break. Come on, man. Don't be ignorant.
Broke, and I live at mom's house with $0. You're in a way better position than me.
You can mow lawns for a few months and make like a few $1,000s. Like there's ways.
You know how many lawns I'm gonna have to mow?
It's a lot of lawns, but that is self-made.
Okay. I'm getting a little bit confused right there, though. If he's saying obtain the money by yourself, then yeah, you started off with that. I mean, if that's the case, then you did not start off with that. You started your business with that. You started if you start your business with $10,000 that you obtain, that don't mean that you started. You got a big head start. No, you could have still started from zero, but you waited until you got a little more money and then you started your business at $10,000. So I think he needs to kind of clarify what he was talking about. But for right now, that guy's points are pretty invalid and not really credible.
I know what it feels like to be poor. 3, 2, 1, go.
There's a difference between being poor and being broke. I've been broke before, like me and my husband have been broke many times in like our relationship, but we've never been poor. And even like a long time ago when I lived in a 1-bedroom apartment with my family, we were never poor. I mean, I was happy, like I had pudding, we went to like parks and stuff. I never felt poor.
When I was 7 years old, I got kicked out and moved into.
Yeah, by the way, she's correct. You know, you could be broke. Broke is, you know, I got only a couple of $100 to my name, and you know, you're broke. You know, you're on a real tight budget. Poor, yeah. If you're poor and your stomach is rumbling, that's a state of yeah. That you don't really want that. But I'm sure we've all been broke before.
My grandparents' garage, and so I was poor mentally and I was broke financially, and I had to take care of myself at a very young age. So for a decade, I was running a pool company in order to eventually gain the opportunities to ultimately move that ball down the court, obviously. So,
but were you happy?
I mean, I wasn't, not really, right? Because there was a lot.
Let's stop that. One, poor. I mean, we all have different definitions of poor. I mean, like I said, I strongly believe poor is living on the streets in, you know, like a box. That is poor. But broke, we all can rise from being broke, you know? And it takes some time, but we can all rise from being broke. It might even be impossible to rise from being poor, you know? Poor and broke, two different things. Broke, yeah, you only got a couple of $100 to your name. You are broke, but you can get the ball rolling. You can apply to a job at Walmart. You can put on, you know, some little slacks and, you know, a button-down shirt and get a job and get the ball rolling. That's broke. But poor, it's pretty hard to rise from being poor. So I wouldn't call his point invalid, but that sounds a little bit invalid too. And correct me if I'm wrong, this kind of sounds like these guys, like almost if they're talking like they're entitled. Because truth be told, like I said, millionaire is not an everyday thing. That is not an everyday thing. They're kind of talking from like an entitled standpoint, like, oh, I was supposed to have it like this or like that. No, like that's how mostly everyone start, with $1 billion odds stacked against them to become a millionaire. Like everyone will start with those type of odds. Like, let's hop back in.
A lot of stuff going on, and like I'm living in a garage and I'm growing up, and I had to not only become rich financially, but also mentally.
I know what it's like to have everything and lose it all. So for me, my parents split when I was young. My family was broken. My mom had to then support 2 children. My dad had some nasty habits with gambling and lost everything. So he had a lot of debts that my mom ended up having to be chased for. And basically, I was 12 years old when I got my first job going door-to-door sales, selling newspaper subscriptions, and I had to bust my ass off to help my mom. So for me, I feel like we all start from somewhere and we go through certain motions because it builds character.
I like that. I'm jealous of you guys. I wish I had that.
She's kind of clarifying it a little bit, but as I said before, because you know we've all you know, most of us grew up with some circumstances to fight. You know, I mean, a lot of us may grow up with some circumstances to fight. She said her circumstances, and like I said, I just, they're talking from it sounds like they're talking from a different standpoint. Like, oh, it was so like I wasn't supposed to become a millionaire. Well, yeah, of course not, because all odds are stacked against you to becoming a millionaire. Like, it just doesn't happen, like I said. But let's hop back in.
That mindset. Like, I travel to third world countries to kind of see what it's like, but I still can't put myself like totally in that spot.
I feel like, again, broke and poor are 2 different things. Like, I grew up in a 2-parent home. I, went to prom in a Bentley. Like, I grew up really, really great. But then I hit 20 and I moved out with some boy. and the situation got very, very domestic violence-y. Now, I was living in a penthouse, and I'm sorry, I got too much pride. I wasn't gonna go back home. And you know, I'm like black and blue, like getting locked into like closets, like really, really toxic stuff. So that for me was very, very poor. Now, did it slingshot me to 6-figure a month income? Yes. But in that state of mind and in that environment, I felt like I was really poor. Like, I looked beat up.
That's not poor. That is not poor. Yo, that's why you gotta hear. That's why you gotta hear this reaction from a person who's you know, just mediocre, average. I'm an average guy. That is not poor. That is not poor. Poor, like you know, she did sound like she was in a pretty hard state. You know, I hope that, you know, that she got out of that really, you know, mentally stable. But now that's not poor. You like she said, had too much pride to leave up out of that situation. You was more in a situation than in a poor life. Like, she never said her stomach was rumbling. She had no shoes to put on her feet. Her clothes was dirty. She never said that. She was in an abusive relationship. You was in a pretty bad situation, but you was under no circumstances poor. And not to mention, I don't know that person's you know, circumstances or anything. You was able to go back to the place that you came from. You just had too much pride to. But under no circumstances is that poor. So sad to say, I think her point is invalid as well. And I hope that you guys are listening to the same thing that I'm listening to, so you could probably understand like where I'm coming from an average person's point of view. Is it me, or do these guys sound just a little bit entitled?
Up, and my direct deposit was not gonna fix a black eye, you know, like.
I should pay more in taxes. 3, 2, 1.
Oh man, taxes. I don't know who would want to really pay more in taxes. That's giving money.
I feel like, you know, you make more money, you obviously do have to pay somewhat more, but I don't feel like we deserve extra things to pay just because we have more money. Like, we shouldn't be looked to as like a fund, you know, from the government or someone else who just feels like, oh, you have more money, you should pay more in taxes.
I just feel like there should be a little bit more freedom with it, because it's really, really stressful. And I feel like a lot of businesses fail in the first 3 years because of taxes, not because they're bad at business, not because they're bad at managing money, but because they're not prepared to do everything by the book.
I mean, I just don't appreciate it when big companies who sell a lot of their services like in the US, and then they have some like Ireland tax status where they're getting out of it, like Apple and Amazon and these big companies that theoretically should pay billions in taxes, while it's us average people who are really supporting the government. I think there should be a little less inequality there.
Amazon paid $0 in taxes.
Did you see Bezos is donating to Australia for the wildfires? He donated $690,000.
Yeah.
And he makes an average of $200 million per day.
Yeah.
And he put out a whole press release, and I'm just like, come on, dude, like, give a little more.
To be fair, they have created a lot of jobs for people. I actually sell on Amazon, so through Amazon FBA, he's provided an opportunity for people like me to make a living for myself, to be able to start a business, you know, online, and to be able to make internet money. So like, to have that freedom, and like, whether we think that he needs to give more or not, I mean, that's really up to him what he does with his money.
I've spent an absurd amount of money on something because I can. 3, 2, 1, go.
My husband just got a Lamborghini and he had a Mercedes. It was like a 90 grand car and he added like a 200 grand car. And I'm like, why'd you do that?
I mean, man, that's a hard one. You can't really fault too many people. I mean, if you just do it one time, you know, when I reach millionaire status, I would really love to get a Lamborghini. You know what I mean? Some things you probably been chasing for a very long time. I mean, you probably wouldn't do that with your first $1 million. But, you know, if you got a couple in the bank, you might, just one. I'm pretty sure one wouldn't hurt. After you certified your priorities, and you know, you got a little on the side, I mean, like, come on, live life. I won't speak on this one right here.
Like, you don't need to do that. He's like, well, I mean, I could, so why not? Like, I want to, it's fun. I'm like, you can't even drive it to the grocery store. Like, you can't use this car for anything.
I mean, I grew up wanting cars. Like, my whole bedroom was like plastered with cars on the wall. And then when I could actually buy it, it was like
it's so fun, right?
Well, it was fulfilling a childhood dream. It wasn't even about the car, it was the challenge.
Yeah.
Then once I had all the cars, the thrill was gone, so I didn't need it. So I think that you should all have like dreams and chase those dreams, whatever they are. Maybe they don't cost that much.
But I mean, not everything's materialistic. Like when I started making money, I changed my body. I went and upgraded
that's
my
what everyone
chest.
does.
I went and cleared my skin. I went and got a tattoo. I went and got my, you know what I mean? Like, go and get hair extensions. Like,
I've definitely purchased things in the past that were cool, and it was because I could. But as time's gone along for me, I've realized so many times that every time I hit the goal or the destination or the target, I realized that the journey was so much more fun. And as I've achieved more success and built more companies, it's almost every time now where I get there and I'm like, man, the journey was actually funner than the destination.
I'm kind of over here with you.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, because like, I used to buy a lot of bags. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, and then once I got there, it was kind of like, I don't have a man, I don't have kids. What am I doing?
But the question wasn't like, what do you think about what's important now? It's like, have you done it in the past? You can't change your past. If you do, are we doing that, changing the future? Like, what do you think about material possessions now? Like, I'll change, I don't need them. But in the past, I've had them. So I've fulfilled my childhood dreams, now I'm good.
Inequality is one of humanity's biggest problems. 3, 2, 1, go.
If we're talking about getting like successful, inequality is definitely not a problem. Like, a homeless person has rose to fame overnight.
All right, let's pause that right there. Let's pause that right there. Let's pause that right there. I mean, that's a tough one. That is a tough one, but some of us, like I said, is brought up in different circumstances than others, okay? So if person A starts off with $100,000 from his parents, and his parents shot it off to him, just gave it to him, and I'm person B and I'm starting off with 0, we are not equal, but it's not none of our fault. You get what I'm saying? I'm just saying you can't compare the two. That's what I'm saying. You cannot really compare the two. You get what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't say it's inequality, but it's not inequality. Everything's, I think we all got equal chances, but the person starting off with $100,000 from his parents or from her parents is in a much different position. I would say that. Not saying that that person starting off with 0 can't reach the same heights, but I would say they're not, equal right at the moment of start. I will say that.
But inequality, like with like the country, that exists. But to become successful, inequality is not a problem. Anyone can make it.
I guess the issue with inequality is that the rich are getting richer and the poor are not having access to those means.
Well, no, because I feel like my husband, he grew up in like the ghetto of LA. Like, he had nothing. He worked as a dishwasher technician, and now he drives a gold Lamborghini and he had a gold Mercedes, and he can buy whatever the hell he wants. You don't need to be like a white guy to make money, like you don't need to grow up in a rich area to make money. There's opportunities everywhere. Anyone can do it if they want to.
But
I think when you look at the statistics, though, I think it's definitely doable. Like, anybody can do it. But we still are in a day and an age where it's still not that common in the grand scheme of things. Like, there's still a lot of people that, like you said, the rich get richer and the poor are either staying the same or not really getting that ahead right now.
I feel like
it's I don't know. You gotta have an entrepreneur mindset to exceed past certain levels. Like, to be a millionaire. A normal, regular person waking up every day for a 9 to 5 with no knowledge of that type of life or that type of money, and who just don't even have that type of drive and force. I mean, they're not gonna become a millionaire. Excuse me. They're not gonna become a millionaire. I don't really think it's an inequality thing. I mean, to be successful, I don't think it's an inequality thing. I think the way things are nowadays, I think we all got a shot of at least $500,000. At least. And it sounds, as crazy as it sounds, I think if you put your mind to that, and the way that things are nowadays with social media, with the internet, with, you know, I think we all got pretty equal chances of, you know, succeeding, getting at least $500,000. Now, quote me if I'm wrong, but I think we all got a chance.
There's still just a lot of inequality. I mean, like, we're all minorities, and you guys are all white. And then, like, growing up, if you put me in a 4th grade classroom and I say, show me a millionaire, you say, Apple, Amazon, Timothy Sykes, he's rich. And then you're like, okay, show me somebody black, show me somebody Asian, show me somebody Spanish. You're going to be like,
It's very
Michael
limited,
Jordan.
right? It's extremely limited.
They don't know.
We need more examples.
My privilege has allowed me to become rich. 3, 2, 1, go.
I think the internet democratizes everything. I mean, I learned everything about stock trading on the internet, and many of us take advantage or capitalize on, you know, things that are in the market, and the internet allows us to become experts.
Would you say the internet's a privilege, though?
No, I mean, you want to get like into semantics, like it's a privilege to be alive during this time in history where we have
internet, just in a sense, if you're
I like
broke.
how you said it's a privilege to be alive in this day and age. It really is. Like, man, people are becoming millionaires overnight. So I would say that is a privilege. Yeah, I think so. I think the internet
you may not have it, so you have to
You
like
can
walk
get free
to,
Wi-Fi.
you have to walk
You
to
can
Starbucks.
beg on the street, and you can get.
But I have to walk there. It's not a
You
privilege.
could be paralyzed, and you could like push yourself. There's a way to get on the internet. Almost every
Yes.
single person can get on the internet. The internet, I think, allows you to achieve anything, and it doesn't matter if you're in the U.S., if you're a man or a woman.
Well, I feel like that's for internet businesses. Like for me, it's more like beauty. Like for example, if I didn't like kind of look good, I'm not trying to be conceited, no one would trust me to like help them look better. Like for example, you're in stocks, that's not really privilege. You learned how to do that. My privilege has allowed me to make money just in that case, just because it's like a beauty industry. That's it. You know that.
So you can create privilege then too, right? Once you gain some momentum in life, it becomes easier in a sense, right? It becomes like, you look at the exponential growth of success typically, and once you kind of create privilege a little bit, from what I've found at least, it does become a little bit easier. Like once you're there though, I mean, it could take 10 years to get there, but eventually you create the privilege. Doesn't mean you have to.
He's talking, in fact, he's talking the most real, raw things on here. He's talking raw information. You can create the privilege after a while. After a while, you can create the privilege. And I'm actually happy that guy said that. It goes to show that somebody's thinking logical, you know, because so far, you know, these millionaires, I mean, I guess, I don't know if the million made them start thinking like this, but they're not really, you know, they're saying it's a lot of flaws in what they're saying. And I know I can't be the only one who was thinking of that. Let's continue.
You had to start out privileged.
For sure, and sometimes it's generational. Like if I was in my mom's shoes and I was actually born in Vietnam and and she didn't take that chance with her family to leave literally everything behind and come over to Canada, I may not be where I am today because she didn't, you know, make that decision to bring our family over. Maybe I would have had to be the one to make that decision for my family, and then it's the next generation that basically built off of that. So it really is situational.
People judge me because I'm rich.
They're gonna say all
3, 2,
They have to
1, go.
Really?
We live in a world where social media is extremely prevalent. So like being on YouTube or Instagram or social media, a lot of it's like perceived. You know, you are constantly getting like quote unquote judged.
Right, but even on social media, it really just depends what you post. That's very much
I have a stupid
controlled
$30,000
environment.
watch just for social media. Like I don't even, if you ask me what time it is, I check my iPhone. I don't even know if this thing works. But like when you're trying to grow your business, especially for me, like in stock trading, why do you get into stock trading? Is it fun? No, it sucks, but you can make money. So for social media, you kind of have to show it.
But even with social media, I mean, if you have 1 million subscribers on YouTube, I think you're rich.
Yeah.
Because I know YouTube is writing you a check.
Yeah, that's true.
And I'm judging you off
Direct
that.
deposit.
But that's my point. Like, you don't have to post a flashy watch. You don't have to post a nice car anymore. Like, if I see, you know, a large amount of subscribers on a monetized platform, I know you're getting direct deposit. I know something's keeping your lights on. Now, I'm not judging you in a bad way. Of course, you know, I work every day to try to make videos too. But in the same sense, like, we judge people that ask us for money.
Money can buy happiness.
I hope they all disagree.
3, 2, 1.
Oh.
It's kind of like that poor broke mentality all over again. Like, if you're rich and you're like in a domestic violence relationship, like you're not.
Let's cut that right there. I don't want to sound like the person who's money can't buy happiness. No. Let's get it right. Money can buy the things that bring happiness, but like I said, once you obtain it though, once you chase that goal, you obtain it. You do need it is a couple like non-tangible things that you will want after a while. After that Lambo, you get that big fix. I know that's a great feeling, but it is something else, the non-tangibles that you're gonna eventually want. And I do agree with I that's just my point on it. And I'm chasing $1 million as well, so
Happy even though you might have money, but still money can buy fun things. And looking back, like, you're proud of your accomplishments, you're proud of the journey that you took to get to where you are, and in a way it can buy happiness.
Money allows you to buy freedom, and then freedom gets you the ability to have more time to find what makes you happy. It's not a direct result.
But it could be, like, let's say your mom or your dad or somebody that had a severe illness, you know, was in the hospital and they had X amount of time to live. Now this person makes you extremely happy, and it's going to cost $1 million or $2 million for this surgery that they need to survive, and you save them. Like, you quite literally just bought happiness. Now, that's not to say that it buys happiness in every area of life.
But it can.
But in certain areas, like, yeah, money definitely can buy happiness.
My most fulfilling asset is the house that I bought my parents.
Exactly.
And I am so grateful to be able to do that.
You were serving another person.
100%.
Exactly.
Right, it's like pouring from an empty cup. You need to make sure that you fill your cup before you help other people. And I think it goes back to donating, or people expect you to give more because you have more, but really it's not selfish for you to want a lot of money or to want that time freedom. And it really just depends on your definition of happiness, what makes you happy. And we all find that, I guess, reason at different points in our life. Some people figure it out really early on, and some people it takes them a lifetime to find out what makes them happy. So even though you could have a lot of money, if you don't know what that reason is that drives you to do the things that you do, then really you're just not going to be happy whether you have money or not.
Okay, well, that's it here, guys. Yo, listen, I mean, I guess that was a pretty good, like I said, all odds are stacked against you when becoming a millionaire, because like I said, no matter what your skin color is, no matter what circumstances you are in, becoming a millionaire is not just gonna, somebody's just not gonna just drop it in your hand. So circumstances, it will be some type of circumstances, because you can't just become a millionaire. You need to provide something different than the rest, you know. So they said a couple of good points, but like I said, from a normal person point of view, a future millionaire point of view, a lot of the things they said, they kind of sound a little like privileged. That's what it is. So it's in here, y'all, and I'm out of here.